storm and the gale. Every harsh word, a dagger that cuts, slice through the silence, breaking the ruts. No sugarcoating, no softening the blow. Had to say it, no holding back. Words like fire, igniting the track. Listen or leave, it's your call tonight. Aaron's the storm, he's ready to fight. Voices echo in darkness, where honesty dwells. Aaron drops knowledge, casting his spells. Feelings are fading, lost in the fray. If you can't handle it, step out of the way. It's a bitter pill, but he's done being nice. Had to say it, no holding back. Words like fire, igniting the track. Listen or leave, it's your call tonight. Aaron's the storm, he's ready to fight. It's a bitter pill, but he's done being nice. Had to say it, no holding back. Words like fire, igniting the track. Listen or leave, it's your call tonight. Aaron's the storm, he's ready to fight. So brace yourself tight, prepare for the quake. Aaron had to say it, the truth won't break. Yeah, the truth won't break.
I had to say, or else it would just go unsaid. Yeah, I had to say, or else it would just go unsaid. If you didn't get it from me, you'd hear it from some newsman instead. I may cuss and yell, but I know what I say is right. You know what, I will fucking yell, but I know what I say is right. So long as the world be fucking shit up, I'ma yell into this mic. Left or right, don't matter, I will call you on your shit. I said left or right, don't fucking matter, I will call you on your shit. If you're the side that fucking up, the gorilla's gonna deal with it. Yeah, I had to say it, or else it will go unsaid. Yeah, I had to fucking say it, or else it will just go unsaid. If you didn't hear it yelled at the top of my lungs, you got fed a crock of shit instead.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of I Had to Say It. As you can tell, we had a couple slight technical issues just to start the show off. New year, same bullshit. So we're going to start out as we do by every episode because this hasn't changed yet, because as much as I love all you guys, there's still enough of you where I can do this list. So to Iceman, Jason, Javier, Fitz McShane, El Jefe, El Devlin, El Morte, to the guys from the Little Report, to Billy G, to Walt from the B-Raw Podcast, to Kate, the Duchess of New Jersey, to Boomer Bob, to George Fonts of the World of Blaze Podcast, to Josh from New Hampshire, to Ken Madden, and to, I'm forgetting somebody because I'm an asshole. Oh yeah, that's right! Bill from Clockham Craft Coffee. I'm just kidding, Bill. I didn't forget you. I don't know. I felt like doing something stupid. Anyway, so, yeah, Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to a new show. New me. New year, new me. That's funny. It's adorable. We all know that's not going to happen. I'm not going to change. If anything, I'm going to get fucking worse. So buckle up, strap in, get comfortable. It's going to be a year. So we're going to start out with what's changed since last week. Well, not a whole hell of a lot, really. The new year started out exactly how we thought it was going to go. The January 1st, we'll start out with the real. Like I said, we'll start at the beginning, and when we get caught up, we'll stop. So January 1st, Zoran Mandami was sworn in as the mayor of New York. He was sworn in by placing his hand atop the Quran and saying the swearing in. Now, this was only, according to, the statement, this was only the public thing, was he was sworn in by Bernie Sanders. Now, that says volumes about a lot of things that people are probably going to just kind of write off as, well, Bernie was supporting him. No, he's a communist. Bernie's a fucking communist. Bernie was swearing him in. Because realistically, there's no good goddamn reason a senator from Vermont should be swearing in the mayor of New York City. Not fucking one. It's theatrics pandering to the fucking smooth-brained retards that elected that fucking goat fucking piece of shit in the first place. He was actually legitimately sworn into office by Letitia James prior to the ceremony with Bernie. The swearing in with Bernie, again, all pomp and circumstances, all shows. Not a case of anything serious or to be taken seriously. It's just, again, bread and circuses for the masses, which is ironic because that's what the Communist Manifesto would refer to everything else that was being put forward by the bourgeoisie to distract the masses and keep them under the oppression of the capitalist system and all the bourgeoisie who were taking advantage of the workers. Again, real interesting theories coming from a guy who never held a real job, sponged off all of his friends till he died broke and penniless, and then his friends paid to put him into a private cemetery that you have to pay $5 to go see him now, because he's a man of the people. Karl Marx was a shitbird, and these brain-dead student motherfuckers that want to sit out here and spout his ideology like they're fucking quoting gospel are a pathetic waste of flesh. They're an indictment of the fucking educational system, a system that only exists because it, insists upon itself. It says these are people that could not survive in the real world. The world of academia is pathetic and not worthy of attention or fucking respect at this point. There was a time where a college education was something that was worthy of having. It was a time when it actually signified that you did have better than average thinking abilities. You did have critical analytical skills. You did have more knowledge. Now it means you're indoctrinated. You're probably a fucking retard with no critical thinking abilities at all. I would take somebody over the trades over a college-educated person and anything that involved common sense in a fucking heartbeat. So, yeah, but I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go off on a tear about Marxism because Karl Marx was a piece of shit. Communists are retards. Communism's never worked. And if you believe in communism, you're listening to the wrong fucking show, retard. What you got to do is you go to your player and you click skip so it'll take you to something that's probably more in your vein. And I don't know how you found your fucking way here unless somebody recommended it as a joke or they're trying to wake you the fuck up. Either way, if you think communism is a good idea, you're a retard. Thank you. Come again. But anyway, yeah, so that is where what happened on January 1st is the world just started out, fucking stupid. There's no nice way to say it. Then there's continuing drama in Minnesota with the Somali fraudsters, and the current estimated total of Somali fraud has crept up to as of the time of this recording, last thing I read was $18.5 billion of fraud over like the last 4 years. And the Democratic Party is trying to do damage control on this by spinning the narrative of, oh, well, it's getting a lot more attention now because reasons, but we've been looking into this since 2020. Well, no, you haven't, because if you've been looking into it since 2020 and it's been continuing and getting exponentially worse this entire time, you're either really fucking stupid and bad at your job, or you're complicit in it, or you're involved in it. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I honestly believe Somalis are too fucking retarded to have perpetrated this fucking act without assistance from other people. That is, you're talking about a country of people where the average IQ is 98. Oh, no, wait, I'm sorry. I had a dyslexic moment. It's a 68. Oh my God. I must be Somali because I can't fucking read. One of their signs said the Leering Center, and it was there for 4 fucking years. It wasn't a new sign that they just fucked up that they couldn't spell. Childhood Leering Center. But yeah, so I don't know. Are these bits working? Is my stupid, like, I fucked up comedy working, or I don't know. Anyway, besides the point, back to the rant. The rant is these fucking smooth-brained, low IQ, literally sub-medically retarded, handicapped motherfuckers defrauded the United States taxpayer to the tune of 18 plus billion with a fucking B dollars, okay? That's a problem. Shit, I forgot to hit start recording again. I'm going to start now. Fuck it. Anyway, so the problem is these, light bulb headed motherfuckers that are out there with, big craniums, little chins, weak teeth, looking like fucking nuclear aftermath. These motherfuckers don't possess the capacity to do anything other than be parasites and like vectors. I don't know a good word for it, because I guarantee there were some fucking U.S. citizens, natural born fucking people born and working the system that coached them on how to do this shit for a cut. There were kickbacks galore. There's a reason the Minneapolis police chief is defending these fucks and apologizing to the Somali community that they got caught. Never once did he deny these allegations, other than to say them being outed for all this fraud is racism. No, that it has fuck all to do with their race. It has everything to do with the fact that they're defrauding the American taxpayers. You retarded, weak, beta cuck motherfuckers. You knuckle-dragging, mouth-breathing fucking idiots. Oh my God, I'm so worried about being called a name. Like, they might think I'm racist if I say, yes, they're a bunch of fraudsters and they fucked all the American people. No, like I said, the dirtbag's probably fucking involved. He probably campaign contributions. You want to know how Camel Toe ground up a $1.5 billion to piss away in the 15 months that she ran for election? Gee, I wonder why Walz was her running mate. And, I don't want to hyperfixate on the bullshit that's going on in Minnesota. Nick Shirley, the 23-year-old kid who did more investigative journalism in fucking a few days than the entirety of legacy media has done in the last 10 fucking years, and exposed this fraud. By the way, it's in a footnote. There's if you go to Harvey's Pistol and Pawn on X, they're contributing some stuff to Nick for his defense, because let's face it, he put a big fucking crosshairs on himself by exposing this shit and basically triggering a ripple effect, which we'll get into in a few minutes. But yeah, they did a collection to donate some firearms and like concealed carry fanny pack and some body armor, and there's a couple other companies donating like armored hoodies and bulletproof hoodies and shit like that to this kid, to basically because somebody's going to try and fucking kill him. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of fucking when. Because he exposed the fraud and he started a fucking chain reaction that is spiraling out. Because after he exposed the initial fraud, there was a ripple effect in more citizen journalists going out and seeking out similar things in their own communities, and mostly in blue states, mostly in heavily urban areas, where you get things like Boston, where again there are millions and millions and millions of dollars, potentially to scale or even more than I'm almost called Minnesota Somalia. But yeah, no, literally to scale with that, if not more. Boston alone has something like 40,000 fucking daycares, and it's 25% of Boston's official area is water. So it's an utterly ridiculous amount of people. And it's not constrained just to daycare fraud. There's all kinds of other fraud going on in the Somali community and in other communities as well. Again, you're talking about, sub-Saharan, sub-IQ'd motherfuckers that have defrauded the American taxpayers for billions of dollars. I mean, we're pushing upwards. There's an estimate out there going around right now, and Elon Musk referenced it. So, I mean, the guy who was the head of Doge and exposed a bunch of internal corruption and fraud and a bunch of opportunities where these things could exist said that anywhere up to potentially $1.5 trillion of our deficit is fraud related. It's fraudulent expenses, money being pissed away and stolen from the taxpayers to line the pockets of the fucking unworthy. So it's a case of this is realistically, it's the elephant in the fucking room. A lot of us have been talking about for years about how corrupt these programs were, about how the government was robbing from us to give to fucking people who didn't earn it. But I think the degree, the scale this is actually happening to, like everybody was, oh yeah, USAID was shut down and all the fraud's going to be fixed now because now all these NGOs are going to starve and we'll find out which ones are real and which ones were just tax funnels. And the thing is, that's not the case. It wasn't just the NGOs. It wasn't just USAID. It is all of these fucking government programs. And especially since COVID happened, where the government, once Biden got into office and basically took out all the fucking stops and all the fucking checks to prevent fraud in the name of, redistributing wealth to the fucked upon and taking care of these poor fucking indigent people that are just too goddamn stupid to actually go out and earn a fucking living. The people that decided they should remove Darwinism from evolution and say, no, the stupid motherfuckers that don't contribute anything deserve everything that they want because they exist. This weak-minded, fucking soy-fed, beta bullshit mindset that is so prevalent on the fucking left that is literally, I mean, even the fucking assholes that are being just as fucked. I mean, okay, it's hard for me to say the people on the left are being just as fucked because let's be honest, a huge portion of those motherfuckers don't work. They don't contribute. They're fucking parasites. They're leeches. They live off their hardworking parents or else they live off the fucking system and they're under attack too. That's their fatted cow too because they're not going to get nearly as worked up or bent out of shape about the fraud because it doesn't affect them because it's not being taken from them because they're non-contributory pieces of shit too. Now, exposing the fraud, canceling the programs, the Trump administration came out and was like, yeah, you know what? We're stopping this. This is done. You can't prove, you're not going to investigate this fraud. And, the federal government's got agents on the ground there looking into this now, all because some kid went out on Twitter and X and YouTube and blew up these fucking places. And immediately the mainstream media, doing what they do, late to the party, jumps off the bench and starts investigating the kid, not all the fraud. And they go out and they start calling Somali daycares and they call like 14 or 15 fucking buildings. They get one place that answers the phone and they're hard-hitting journalists. This was CBS, by the way, in case you're interested. Because I've just not watched mainstream media in a long time. And I know a lot of people have stopped. That's why they're fucking a dying industry. But so CBS's hard-hitting investigative journalism was they called 14 or 15 places in Minnesota and got one place that answered the phone, and their hard-hitting investigative journalism was, are you guys committing fraud? The lady that answered the phone said no and hung up. Good job, CBS. You sure showed that kid was pushing an agenda, and he's a bigot and a phobe and all the other shit you called him. Fucking morons. I swear to Christ. The stupidity of the fucking institutions that are perpetrating this shit is unbelievable. The fact that more people can't see it is just fucking insulting. I mean, I bemoan the future of this country because of the degree of stupid fucks that are out there that just lean into this shit. Like, oh my God, no, they would never say bad things about the world. This is the media didn't talk about it. The news didn't say it, so it must not be true. So you're either a fucking geriatric or you're a left-leaning retard if you think the mainstream media is still your friend at this point. And not all the geriatrics are that bad. I'm not trying to pick on you at all, Bruce, but it's a case of it. It's a case of if you still buy into the shit, it's either because it pushes the agenda you want to hear, or it's because you're a complicit piece of shit. and you know it's wrong, but you don't care because the fucking fraud benefits you too. And I'm saying that to all the parasitic leftist retards, the purple-haired fucking land whales who can't actually compete on a level scale, so they need the government intervening on their behalfs, because otherwise they'd have to actually better themselves and be contributory members of society instead of sitting around working 15 hours a week, living off of social aid, and then fucking going on social media and publishing their fucking poorly thought out, poorly ranted diatribes that show how ignorant of the actual real world they are, because they're going to go out there and say things that are like, oh my God, people have, food is a human right. No, the fuck it's not. Access to food is a human right, but if you don't have the ability to produce it with your own skills and your own knowledge and your own resources, you don't have a right to it. You have a right to trade for it, to buy for it, to purchase it, to obtain it, but you don't have a right to just have it. That's not how society works. And then you get the people who go out there and try and defend this retarded worldview by saying, well, I'd rather my tax dollars went to feeding the poor than going to wars. Yeah, well, that's great for you. There's this thing called voluntarism. It's a concept wherein you can contribute your own earnings to shit that you believe in and support those ideas. And then you don't have to contribute to the things you don't believe in and don't support. I honestly think that's how the federal government should go back to running, because once upon a time, that's how it worked. Prior to 1913, that was how it worked. You kept all of your fucking paycheck. The roads were still paved. The fucking streetlights still came on. The fucking world still ran. And the U.S. government actually ran a lot better, because when they wanted to spend money, they had to come out and ask us for it. It wasn't willy-nilly, we'll do whatever we want. Congress will give themselves raises as they see fit. But after the institution of the Fed, they were able to just cut themselves checks whenever the fuck they wanted for whatever they fucking wanted. The Fed would give the government loans and then take the money from the taxpayers to repay those loans. And they just, again, they lost the ability to be checked by the population, because there was a time when they wanted to go to war, when they wanted to fund the military industrial complex, they had to do things like sell war bonds to fund said things, because they weren't just taking the money from us to do with as they fucking would. It's an utterly ridiculous situation. The fact that it was supposed to be temporary and it lasted this long, because there's no thing as permanent as a temporary government tax increase. And it's a case of, realistically, there is no other way to look at it than to realize this is done intentional. The ignorance, the fucking just lack of fiscal literacy in the general population was deliberately cultivated by a fucking very biased educational system that said, if we keep these people ignorant and fucking pompous, we can do whatever the fuck we want, and they're not going to be able to do a goddamn thing about it. So it's a case of, realistically, this is how the world works. We've all been getting fucked. They've been doing it without consequence or even being called out. The people who were called out were marginalized and called conspiracy theorists and lunatics and all kinds of other shit. And then a kid with a cell phone and a list went to Minnesota and started exposing all this shit. And a lot of people got inspired. I mean, the American people are getting fed the fuck up. And personally, I'm here for it. I am all in favor of this shit. But at the end of the day, this one kid in Minnesota, this is how we start off 2026. All of a sudden, independent investigative journalists, citizen journalists are popping up all over the fucking country finding similar things. And they haven't really broadened the scope of it, which is the only thing I'm kind of disappointed in. Honestly, being unemployed, I should be looking at this shit and going out in Illinois and calling fucking, looking up childcare centers that were established since 2020. Calling home care facilities that have been established since 2020, calling in-home nursing aid facilities, because these are all areas where fraud has been proven prior to now. So at this point, if I were a responsible citizen that wasn't concerned with getting back on his fucking feet, I would be contributing all my not working time to doing this shit. But I'm not. I'm still more worried about getting a job so I can do the things I talk about, like contributing to my own welfare, not living off of the fucking system, trying to be a earner instead of a fucking consumer. Because, I mean, a lot of people that want to, praise communism and badmouth the system will go out there and talk about, consumerism's the problem. Rampant consumerism's the problem. As they post this shit from their fucking iPhones, sitting in some goddamn place drinking a $13 fucking coffee, because they are so just completely tone deaf and lack any sort of self-awareness to be able to look at this thing from anything other than they're fucking morons. So They look from their pompous, oh, I have a college degree, so I must be smarter than the average person. I'm going to spew my reheated fucking professor's thoughts out into the fucking world. And if you don't agree with me, obviously you must not be as intelligent as I am, because you don't understand how much more superior my way of looking at the world is, because I spent $190,000 on a degree that it doesn't qualify me to pour fucking coffee. So... yeah, so you get all these self-important smug retards that are just pouring out into the world, and they have come out in mass to try and condemn this fucking kid, saying, oh, well, of course he went when they weren't open. That's why when he did his video interviews, they didn't open the doors. Well, most of the people who say that just saw a couple clips somewhere and they don't understand. If you watch the entirety of the video, he went to multiple locations. Windows were blacked out, which I don't necessarily have a huge problem with, because, you know, there's a lot of creepy fuckers in this world. Now, another thing is the creepy fuckers in this world tend to favor one side politically as opposed to the other. And the ones that are sitting in parking lots eyeballing people's kids realistically probably would be okay with the Somalis, having little kids running around. And for some odd reason, it's all this... oh, well, the windows are blacked out because we don't want people creeping on our kids. Of course, they didn't let him in to take pictures of people's kids to prove that he was, there to, oh, no, they're not going to let him around kids because they're doing their jobs. Okay, here's the thing. I don't know. Maybe you haven't been around a bunch of kids and in a daycare setting, or even just around a group of kids. If you don't have kids of your own, you've never had to hear the fucking sonic just disturbance that is a group of young children, daycare age kids. When you get more than 3 or 4 of them together in one place at one time, it creates a fucking noise that will go through fucking cinder blocks. It's not a matter of, oh, well, we're keeping him away from the kids. There were no fucking kids there. There is a tonality. There is a vibe. There's a feeling in the fucking air when there's a bunch of kids in one place. It's not dark windows and closed off lights and people refusing to come to the fucking door. And ironically enough, the people who say, oh, well, he just went to places when they're closed and he's not a real journalist. Well, he's more real than anybody that has journalist on their fucking business cards. I can tell you that much. But to avoid getting too sidetracked, when you go to a daycare center and you call a daycare center and you ask for a brochure, and when you ask to enroll your child, which he did to multiple facilities, and they say no, or they don't have any literature about their facility, or they don't even have a fucking functioning phone number. About a third of these places put down phone numbers that they knew didn't fucking work because they knew they weren't going to be investigated, because they knew the system didn't fucking care. When you're running an actual established licensed daycare, you have things like state coming through to audit your facility. You have to be concerned with those things. One of these places, which Tim Walz wants to point to, like, oh, we've been investigating the frog for years. The first time they got investigated, and I'm saying the first time because they didn't get shut down, they didn't get their funding pulled, they didn't get their license revoked. The first time the investigators showed up, they didn't even have chairs for their alleged, 200 fucking kids that were there. They had one chair in the entire fucking building. No toys, no games, no mats, no mess. They had a fucking chair, and that was it. And they got a, oh, that's naughty. Next time we come looking, you better have some kids and some furniture. Meanwhile, they're, funneling hundreds of thousands of dollars from the government, between the state government and the federal government. And they're not being looked into at all. Nothing suspicious about that at all. Nothing about that implies complicity from the actual fucking government agencies that were involved in this shit show. It's just, oh, well, oopsie. It fell through the cracks. We were looking into the fraud allegations. We've been investigating them. It's racist that you guys are targeting this Somali community. No, it's the Somali community that put a crosshairs on their own fucking backs by being involved in this shit. It's not, and then they have the audacity to start talking shit after they get exposed. Bad-mouthing America, bad-mouthing anybody who had the audacity to question their fucking... their personas, their qualities, their characters, their traits. When you're talking about a culture that literally is known for being fucking pirates and fraudsters. Oh, well, no, these fucking people had the audacity, and it happened a lot too. They start taking to social media, start taking to newspaper. and talking shit. Oh, well, you know, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. There was one broad that made a TikTok and said something about Elon Musk and said, oh, it doesn't matter, he'll be dead soon. And immediately started screaming victim when she got called out for that shit. But that's neither here nor there. I really got to start putting clips of this shit together so I can pop these up during the show. But that'll involve me getting more involved and actually thinking ahead. And we don't do that on this show. Aaron just comes on here and vents his fucking colon. Oh, I'm sorry, my spleen. I don't vent my colon. I'm still caught up on the most recent episode of the Boomer Bunker that I just got done watching, and there was way too much colon talk in that show. You missed out. You got to go watch it. If you didn't see the live stream, go catch the recording. It's fantastic. But anyway, so back to the Somalis that are defrauding the American government for billions of fucking dollars and being enabled. Now, there was a press conference because the guy from the Little Leering Center, he was saying that it's coincidentally enough, after the reports dropped and his facility was exposed, there was a break-in that very same night, and it must have been done by some MAGA hat wearing. I mean, the guy went basically full Juicy Smollett on this one. He's like, oh, someone broke in and they stole some pages out of our checkbook and all of our student records. There's so much wrong with that. I don't even know where to fucking start. That is how someone with a 68 IQ tries to cover up the fraud that they are involved in. And honestly, I saw some pictures of the break-in. Not only does it not look like a professional break-in job, like not even a professional thief, not even somebody who comes from a culture of pirates would fuck up a break-in this badly. Where, oh, he came in through the cinder block wall and then knocked in the fucking sheetrock to break into our facility and steal our rosters and our student lists and all of and some pages out of our checkbook. That's what a retard thinks people are going to believe to show that there was an attack on their property, and that's why they can't produce the evidence about the crimes they've been accused of. That's what you think is going to work when you have a literally medically retarded IQ and a lot of fucking money, because the dude was wearing like some fucking $2,300 glasses in his news interview. I mean, just fucking utterly ridiculous. And in this news interview where he's telling people the stupidest, like the lie you would get from a fucking 8-year-old when you asked him, what happened to the chocolate cake that was for when grandma comes to dinner tonight? And he goes, I don't know what happened to the chocolate cake. I think somebody came in and stole the cake and spread some on the ground and then put the empty plates in the sink. And meanwhile, the kid's got fucking chocolate up to his fucking ears. It's not a smart person's defense to say all of our records were stolen. We have no backups. All of our rosters are gone. We have nothing to prove there was ever a student here, and they stole pages out of our checkbook. Here's what happened. I'm not an expert in anything, by the way. This is all allegedly. This is all theoretically. This is all spouts where I should have tinfoil in my cap, because obviously I'm a conspiracy theorist and I'm a racist and I'm a bigot. This light bulb headed fucking retard went into his office, kicked in some fucking sheetrock, took a sledgehammer and broke some cinder blocks. And that's the other thing. I did see a picture of the damage. The debris looks like the fucking cinder blocks were broken from the inside of the fucking house. So that's neither here nor there. It's just my 2 pennies on the thing. I didn't study the photos. I didn't study the video. I just saw it real briefly in a clip. But I digress. This retard went in there, said, oh shit, I'm in trouble. I'm going to tell them they stole all of our records of all our students. No, we don't have any computers. We're simple Somalis. We don't know how fucking electricity works, apparently. And there's a case of, well, we don't have any backups. We don't have any proof that we had all of these children that we were receiving government money for. Oh, and they tore some pages out of my checkbook. You know what they probably tore out of the checkbook is the pages that prove all the fraudulent spending this dumb shit was doing using his company checkbook to use laundered funds. It was just utterly fucking stupid. And this motherfucker got up, said that shit with his whole chest in a fucking news conference. The fucking trained SEALs clapped and cheered. Yeah, white men bad. This was a MAGA crime. This is a hate crime because those poor innocent fraudster Somalis had their checkbook defaced and all their documents. What the fuck is a thief going to do with a child enlistment roll, huh? It's seriously the most smooth brain shit you can spout in any fucking way, shape, or form. It's not even a well-constructed lie. These fucking retards are so complacent and so convinced that there's going to be no consequences for their actions because liberal white motherfuckers are going to come to their fucking defense. So why should they bother to make the story good when they can just make it quick and the fucking white people will do the heavy fucking lifting for them? It's these goddamn retards, and you could see them in the fucking news conference. Liberal white bitches, and normally I reserve liberal white bitches to say white liberals, male, female, non-gender conforming, zers, they, zems, whatever the fuck you may choose to say. In this particular case, I'm talking about the bane of Western society, liberal white fucking women. Genetically, biologically, XY chromosomes, fucking females. Or I'm sorry, XY is men. It's XX chromosomes that are women. That's not a, deliberate fucking joke. That's literally me tripping over my own fucking tongue. The XX chromosome broads that are out there with their suicidal fucking empathy and two big fucking fat white Minnesota bitches standing behind this bobbleheaded looking fuck with little fucking signs talking about how racist it is that they're getting called out for their shit. Worthless fucking cunts. I swear to God. As much as I say things like, to get under Duchess's skin when we're doing Bruce's show in the morning about repealing the 19th Amendment and all this other stuff, it's a case of, well, I do believe there are good women out there, intelligent women that are capable of thinking critically and logically. They're in the minority. I'm sorry. There are way too many of these broads out there that instead of thinking about things from a logical standpoint, they will come out there and say, hey, you know what? I think this feels good, so that's what I'm going to go with. I feel like these people need my caring and nurturing and loving. Oh, wait, we got fucked over. It must be because they didn't know any better. No, it's because they don't share your empathy. They don't share your compassion. They don't share your values or your beliefs, and they see you as a soft fucking mark. I don't think that we should repeal the 19th Amendment and no women should get to vote. I think there should be a common sense fucking test with 6 or 7 simple questions that you have to answer right to be able to get the fucking ballot. And those questions should be, can a man give birth? Fuck no, you can't. You can identify as a woman. You can pretend you're a girl all you fucking want. If you have testicles and XY chromosomes, you can't carry a child to term because you don't have a fucking womb in which to nurture and raise that child to development. You fucking retards. I'm sorry, I really didn't mean to make this off a tangent on that shit. I want to stick to talking about the fraudsters, but the fat white bitch holding up the stupid fucking sign in the fuck... Yeah, oh no, I agree, Kate, men too. I don't think the 19th should be repealed. I don't think women don't deserve to vote. If I was going to be a smartass about it, I'd say anybody with a T level under 300 shouldn't be allowed to vote. Because then when you get the tranny broads that are on testosterone, but that's the problem. That's why I'm saying it needs to be a common sense fucking test. It needs to be a case of testing people and seeing, is your empathy going to overrule your good fucking sense? Because emotionally charged decisions are terrible for society. It really is the case. People start preying on emotions when they can't defend their fucking stances, and it's a bad look. It has bad results. You want to see how it has bad results? Look anywhere in the fucking Western world right now that is being overrun, that it's a case of Europe, America, Central, South America. They get these weak-minded ideals in place through capitalizing on the shit, and they import the third world that doesn't share that empathy, that doesn't share that value or that belief, and they get over fucking run by people that will take everything that's available and then some change. It's just a case of, it's weak-minded, it's fucking soft-headed, you have a big heart and you have a soft head, you're a fucking threat, you're a problem. And I don't say it's just women. That's why I keep saying it's not just fucking women. Liberal men are fucking terrible. The problem is, liberal women will target not necessarily liberal men, but fucking weak men, and browbeat them and harangue them into a fucking subservience and just they will dominate them to push their fucking agenda. They get extra fucking votes because they get these weak beta cuck men who think maybe they'll get to see a fucking titty if they go along and tell. You can see them at these fucking protests. Guys who have obviously never seen a fucking nipple without paying for it, that are out there. If I say what she wants to say, I might get to touch a boobie. It's fucking retarded. Emotional based decisions are fucking horrible. That's what it boils down to. They don't work. They don't. That's why my wife will tell you I'm emotionally constipated. I don't let my emotions out because I'm fully aware of what happens when I do. It's never a good thing. I've never made an emotional decision that ended fucking well in my life. And I'm smart enough to understand that. It's a whole thing. But anyway, so yeah, that was like day 2 of fucking 2026. We are on a fucking roller coaster ride. It's a hoot and a holler. So we get Mondami, we get more fucking exposure. We get all of these people that are around, and hey, you know what? All those citizen journalists, now we're going to start looking into it, and they're finding fraud all over the place. Shocker, they're in all these deep blue areas. And then Trump comes out and he says, yeah, no, Minnesota, your funding's cut off. You're not getting any childcare federal dollars until you fucking do something about this. Tampon Tim goes out and says, you know what? This is racist and it's bigoted and it's phobic, and some far-right whack job is accusing us of all these crimes, and the Somali community, we stand with the Somali community, blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, Tampon Timmy is really he's in the find out stage for sure. This motherfucker, who the left tried to make the second highest seat in the fucking federal government last year, got booed at his own fucking press conference today at the Capitol building in Minnesota. He came out and he announced that because of all the detractions and all the drama and all the bullshit, he's rescinding his bid that he was going to run for a third term as governor of Minnesota. And he's stepping down. Now, I'm actually kind of surprised he has the wherewithal to realize he's completely fucking unelectable. And I'm really willing to bet that came from his fucking handlers, not from any decision he actually made by himself. He was told, you're unelectable, Tim. You can't get the thing. Now, I've already read something that I think is a pretty interesting theory, because if you remember, the guy who shot the one Democrat who voted against funding Somalis, and then everybody tried to blame it on MAGA until he was caught and then said Tim Walz put him up to it, at which point the news promptly stopped covering it. Also on his hit list was Amy Klobuchar, but I've heard that they're going to try and run her as governor now, and she'll step down as Senate. And then because Walz wanted her out of the way to get that Senate seat, they're going to try and appoint him into the fucking position when she steps down to run for fucking governor. So he can appoint himself to replace her seat or some shit. Or he'll step down as governor, and his lieutenant governor will step up as governor and then appoint him to her vacant Senate seat. So again, this is very early stages conspiracy theory shit. This literally came out like 20 minutes after he announced he was pulling out. He was definitely forced out. It was not something he did voluntarily, because that fucking mincing Fruit Loop doesn't have the self-awareness to realize that he's unpopular, even though he got booed and cussed out at his own fucking press conference. People were literally yelling, fuck you, Tim, at this conference. It was phenomenal. I mean, I should caveat to that. I should say, I have to assume they were yelling fuck you at this conference, because they had to censor it because it's a news report as opposed to like a live stream or something. So they were bleeping it. And, but you can kind of gather from the rants around what somebody says that it's a fuck you, Timmy. So, yeah, but even getting called out and motherfucked by his own fucking constituents, he's not that fucking self-aware. I mean, that fucking retard thought he was going to appeal to masculine voters by putting the screw on the wing nut on an air filter in his truck, so that shows he's a car guy, and not being able to load a fucking shotgun. So yeah, he's a fucking joke, but I don't think he has the self-awareness to realize that he would have gotten trounced if he would have tried to run again. He would have drawn resources and funds and votes from the Democratic candidate, because he's a fucking idiot, and he's probably very well controlled by his deranged fucking kindergarten teacher on crack wife. he's a stroke. His daughter's a cunt. His kid's a retard, and his wife's a fucking whack job. And I'm just rehashing those points because I've said all of that before, and I'm going to say it again because it feels good for me to say it. And what do I care? It's just me. So anyway, yeah. So Trump comes out and basically says, "Yeah, this is bullshit," and then also name drops a bunch of other fucking governors who he thinks are also complicit, and he talks about New York and California and Washington and, of course, dear sweet Illinois. And basically, he's like, yeah, as bad as Minnesota is, it's probably worse than all of these other places. And I completely agree with it. I think it's completely true. Our shitbird governor here has shown that he has no problem whatsoever prioritizing illegals, and I'm sure there's a lot of kickbacks and fraud and all sorts of other bullshit with this. And it's, it is what it is. The weak-minded liberal mind virus is strong in Illinois. But, you get outside of the city limits and the couple of counties around Chicago, and it starts to taper off. Excuse me. Now, on the other side of that coin, there's some other things that went on. And it's kind of funny to watch the fucking whiplash from the left in dealing with this shit because in a certain way, it's actually the Trump administration has a little bit played into their hands because they're distracting from the fraudulent things going on here they did something that we talked about it this morning actually on the whatever the fuck Bruce renamed his show to. The daily show that we do on X in the morning has been renamed Road Rage 101 is what it's called now. It's no longer the Morning View. It is now Road Rage 101. Still worth coming on. Same cast of fucking misfits. Same fucking bullshit. We're going to still laugh and giggle and yell at each other and have a good time. But Bruce renamed it. Didn't, consult any of us about it. Just decided, hey, it's my show. Time to rebrand. Fuck all my co-hosts. I'm just kidding, Bruce. It's whatever. But anyway, so we talked about this morning, and that Trump went in, sent in what is being, depending on who you ask, it's either an illegal act of war and a war crime, which is not remotely close to being true. It's a case of, realistically, it's a international policing action. They went in and arrested Nicolas Maduro, the dictator of fucking Venezuela. Now, the leftist retard commie motherfuckers, and I'm saying commie motherfuckers because, Maduro's a communist piece of shit. And the people out there supporting him in a large portion, like there was somebody being interviewed that was literally like, I'm a member of the New York American Communist, like some 20-some-year-old kid, looks like his other fucking ball hasn't dropped yet, weak chin, low testosterone, looks like he maybe weighs $135 dripping wet, utter piece of fucking shit that just, oh yeah, I'm an American communist. No, motherfucker, you know what? You should be going for a plane ride. If you don't understand what I mean when I say that, go read some fucking history. Look up Pinochet. Pinochet did nothing wrong. That's where I stand on the matter. That's how you deal with a fucking communist. The only good communist is one that's fucking fertilizer. I'm not going to apologize for saying it. It's the fucking truth. Communism doesn't work. Anybody who thinks it does, anybody who supports it, anybody who endorses it, anybody who believes in it is either a grifter or a fucking retard. But anyway, so, yeah, Maduro gets arrested, snatched up, kidnapped. Literally, yes, we kidnapped him. That's what happened. It was a military operation. The U.S., well, we did not throw everything we have at it after all the posturing and all the other bullshit. So, basically said, hey, you know what? You're playing fuck around and find out. Your shitty country has too much fucking oil and too weak of a military to have the fucking attitude you're swinging here, buddy. That's what it boiled down to. Maduro was in Venezuela a few weeks ago talking shit, literally running his fucking mouth. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Come and get me, you coward, because Trump called him out on something that he was indicted on in 2020. The people that are out there protesting and bitching, half of them fucking forgot that Biden issued a fucking bounty on this fucking clown. He started out at $25 million, taxpayer dollars, to anybody that could bring him in to face the charges standing against him in the U.S. courts. That bounty went up to $50 million before Biden left office. Trump, using the War Powers Act, acted extrajudicially to go forth with a strike force and arrest him. That's what happened. Now, the leftist retard braying talking heads that are out there echoing every point that their masters give them say, oh, well, he committed acts of war without the authorization of Congress. That's illegal. First off, no, it's not. Second off, no, he didn't. If you want to call these acts of war, it was the shortest war fucking ever. American boots on the ground was a total of 35 minutes. The entire strike, the entire operation was over in in 3 hours. Boots on the ground time, 35 minutes. Literally, you could have been watching Lord of the Rings, and before the movie was over, the fucking fight was done, and our troops were on their fucking way home. So, it's just a case of, it is what it is. We did it. I'm not super thrilled necessarily at the fact that, and we discussed this morning, and Ken and I were talking about it. It's not great that he did all of this without notifying Congress or really anybody. They played this one very, cards to the vest. And I'm not thrilled that that's the way the system has to work to get anything fucking done, but I completely understand why he did it. Our federal government is so fucking compromised. Congress is so full of fucking leaks that if they would have said something to Congress about it, Maduro would have known it was coming. The fucking military would have had much more shit to deal with, and Americans would have gotten fucking killed because some pinko bleeding heart liberal retard in DC decided to tip them off that the shit was coming. So Trump didn't tell Congress. Trump didn't tell the news. Trump didn't tell nobody until the shit was fucking done. And it got done. And it got done well and officially. The liberal retards are out there yammering about how he committed a crime and he violated his authority as president and blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm not going to sit here and read off the whole goddamn thing, but Bruce posted something. You can go check it out on his social media things, The Weathered View, that breaks down not even all of them, but most of how since the 60s, presidents have been using this authority to commit targeted strikes and to commit single actions. Obama did it. The golden boy of the fucking left did it when he struck Osama bin Laden. He did it. Obama drone struck American civilians for fuck's sakes without congressional authority. He doesn't have, none of them have any fucking room to fucking clutch their pearls. It's utter horse shit. So anyway, yeah, so the Delta Force went in support of the feds. The FBI and the DEA had agents there because Maduro's being arrested on trafficking, conspiracy, weapons charges, and drug smuggling charges, and ties to the cartel. These are things that he's been under indictment for 6 fucking years. They just finally got fed up with it and went and got his punk ass. Now, the liberal retards are out there. Oh, well, it's about the oil. Trump even said during the fucking news conference, yeah, the American oil companies are going to go back there and take their fucking, take the facilities that were left there back. They're going to spend all this money to reinvest, and Venezuela is going to start selling oil. Drill, baby, drill. They're going to, you know what the difference is? Venezuela is going to start selling oil, and the people will actually start seeing some benefit from it because under the establishment of their communist regime by Hugo Chavez, which happened back in the 90s, and was it 90s or late? Yeah, I want to say it was the 90s. I don't have the number in front of me. I really should have. Everybody knows by now I don't do fucking research. And if this is your first episode, hi, welcome to the show. I don't do research. I just say shit off the top of my head and then correct myself later if I turned out to be wrong. But very rarely am I actually wrong. Anyway, back to the point. Yeah, so when Hugo Chavez seized power, he seized multiple oil production facilities. He only would sell oil to the people and BRICS nations at this point. And it was a case of, they went to shit. The people's quality of lives went to garbage. Venezuela went from being one of the most oil-rich countries in this. I mean, it really is one of the most oil-rich countries in this hemisphere. I think on the planet, actually. I mean, they have oil reserves comparable to Russia easily. And I want to say it's actually the biggest verified reserves in the fucking world. But yeah, so under a communist mismanagement, shit went terrible, went south. Maduro was not legitimately elected. He was losing the election by a lot. It was like 23 to 67% of the votes went to his opponent. And then, oddly enough, just like with the 2020 election here in the States, if you looked at the graph of the voting, there was like a 3 a.m. spike, and it looks identical to the way the fucking votes went in the U.S. elections in 2020. Oddly enough, elections that were counted by the same Dominion voting machines. Gee, what a coincidence, right? So that brings me into my next conspiracy theory. Yes, Trump has said that the oil companies are ready to go in there and invest and modernize the fucking refineries and the fucking drilling facilities in Venezuela to bring oil production up to scale. You're going to watch the oil market probably. Price per barrel is probably going to, tank a little bit in the coming months. That's a mixed bag, but yes, the oil corporations are going to make billions from this. Yes, they are. I'm not denying that because I'm not a fucking retard. In order for the oil companies to make those billions, everyone involved on the ground levels and up will see a increase in their quality of fucking life. Open market capitalism and these oil companies coming in, assuming the government that gets set up to replace Maduro was not some kind of puppet state shithole, assuming it gets handled better than the transition like in Afghanistan, say, where, we spent 20 years, billions of dollars and fucking, thousands of American lives to replace the Taliban with the fucking Taliban because nothing quite like a botched withdrawal to fuck things up. But this is how you prevent long drawn out fucking wars. This is how you get action that resolves a situation. I don't want to lower the fucking camera, woman. Sorry, I actually got distracted by the chat. I've been trying to avoid that all fucking night. Anyway, so now where was I? God damn it, Shauna. Oh, yeah. So the oil companies coming to Venezuela, yes, corporations are going to make billions of dollars. And those billions of dollars will be reinvested into the companies and into the livelihoods and well-being of everyone in the fucking country. They will see commerce grow. They will see exports pick up. They will see their quality of life go as they build an entire infrastructure around supporting these industries. That's how it fucking works. You retarded fucking mouth-breathing sacks of shit. Oh my God, the companies are going to come in and they're going to make money. Oh my God. You mean people will be able to go out and work and earn? How fucking terrible. Fucking dolts. And so anyway, Maduro gets yoinked out of his fucking house at fucking 3 o'clock in the morning. Winds up in a fucking C-130 flying back to U.S. They fly him into New York. They parade him through fucking... through New York in front of all the protesting assholes across the country in deep blue cities. Immediately, all these protests spring up. Identical fucking signs. No war in Venezuela. Blah, blah, blah. All these stupid shit. Identical text, identical print, identical fucking letters. This is not an organic thing. This is funded and organized by a opposition party. It's a case of, realistically, anybody who believes this is natural, organic, people popping up and being pissed off are just fucking stupid. But at the end of the day, it becomes a case of the really, really, really self-righteous left are out there. Oh my God, they kidnapped a president. They don't have the right to do that. They broke international law. And I saw it all over the internet today, and it made me laugh over and over again. It's a bit from a Dave Chappelle sketch from when, if he was the first black president or something like that, and they're talking about, oh, the UN's mad at me because I violated international law. You know what you should do? Sanction me. Sanction me with your armies. Oh, you don't have an army. You should shut the fuck up. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I don't give a shit about the UN at all. And everybody knows that already. And I think we should leave the UN. I don't think there's any reason for the United States to be in the UN. We don't benefit from it in the fucking least. We fund it. We support it. We provide the security for the rest of the fucking planet. And it's retarded. They don't want to pay their fair share. They don't want to foot the fucking bill. They want us to do everything. They want our kids to die in the name of their fucking beliefs, and they're hot fucking garbage. They are a fucking joke, and we shouldn't be supporting them. We shouldn't be funding them. And if the UN doesn't like what we did, fuck them. They got a narco-terrorist out of his fucking country with minimal lives lost. I mean, the amount of fucking Venezuelans that died in this action is double digits. It's not even 100 fucking people. Pretty impressive for overthrowing a fucking regime at the end of the day. Now, there's been other, consequences. The president of fucking Colombia is now talking shit. Oh, well, Colombia stands ready and we're going to do this and we're going to do... That's probably a huge part of what contributed to Maduro getting fucking snatched up in the middle of the fucking night. People will say that may not be the case, but this motherfucker went on the news and said, I'm here, come get me, you won't do it because you're a fucking coward. And a few days later, he got snatched the fuck out of his bed in his pajamas. And to his credit, his pajama game, way better than mine. I mean, I sleep in, fucking basketball shorts and a t-shirt, if that. In the summer, it's just the shorts because I get fucking hot. This motherfucker had some, a matching fucking Nike outfit on, and just, he was all well-dressed. Didn't get snatched out in some fucking sweatpants with a hole in the ass or anything. Good for him. And, and I only know that because they posted a picture of him, in shackles in the fucking transport. And he had fucking a blindfold on and fucking earmuffs on, right? Now, the thing about that is that picture came out, and again, all the fucking internet, internet legal experts and international affairs experts all came out and said, oh, well, they're doing sensory deprivation on him. That's because it's illegal. They have his eyes covered and ears covered to give him sensory deprivation. First off, blindfolding somebody that you're black bagging out of their fucking establishment to, prevent them from seeing things is standard practice in situations like that. Second off, this motherfucker had ear pro on because the back of a transport helicopter is loud as fuck. Now, I've never personally been in the back of a transport helicopter. I've been in a commercial helicopter, and I know how loud that fucking is. So I can only assume that something that's built to military grade, because the only people who think military grade means better don't understand how the fucking military operates in a lot of ways, shapes, and forms. A lot of military grade shit is built to be functional, not comfortable. So it's loud as fuck in the back of military transports. I know that because a lot of people that I follow, interact with, and know personally that were in the military have told me fucking so. So it's really not that complicated for me to go, you know what? He probably had those earmuffs on for his own fucking protection. You fucking dolts. They're not sensory deprivating him to make him, they're not torturing him. They're fucking keeping his ears from being vibrated out of his fucking head by the built by the lowest bidder fucking piece of equipment that they're extracting him in. It's not that fucking complicated. But no, the fucking experts on the internet must know better because, they're 23, they've never moved out of their parents' fucking basement, and they're experts in fucking everything. It's utterly fucking retarded. But, so that happened. And, like I said, the commies came out and commied and the retards came out and retarded. And Colombia apparently threw their hat in the ring for who the fuck is next. The president of Cuba also had something to say, and that motherfucker really needs to be careful because, I mean, J.D. Vance looks like the kind of guy that likes a good cigar. So at the end of the day, Cuba really needs to just be the fuck quiet. Considering most of their vehicles were built in the fucking 50s, they need to shut the fuck up. And so, how I was bitching about the UN. The last thing I want to talk about tonight is New Year. The head of the UN Security Council, which is an appointment position, rotates, right? And they now are being headed by the Somali delegation, which has been off of the UN Security Council for decades. And all of a sudden, they have found back in, and it's their turn to be chairing the UN Security Council, which will decide where UN security forces go and blah, 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 blah. The guy who is the president of the UN Security Council, for the representative from Somalia, has multiple child care facilities in Minnesota. Now, the Minnesotan fraud is greater than the GDP of fucking Somalia, right? The guy who's the head of the fucking Somalia representation to the UN has Minnesotan child care facilities. So a Somalian who is not a Minnesota resident is receiving funds from a Minnesota child care facility, multiple Minnesota child care facilities. And apparently we're just supposed to ignore this because if we talk about it, we're racist and phobic and bad fucking people. And, yeah, like I said, I'm not going to dwell too deeply on it. I mean, the fraud runs deep, the checks get cashed, and you and I pay the fucking bill. And it more and more it looks like it's not going to end without things getting sloppy. I'm not saying I want it to happen. I'm just saying I kind of see that's the way things are going to go. Now, before I get into the recipe portion of the thing, I'm gonna open up to the chat and see if there's anything that you guys think I missed, anything that you want to say, anything that you would like me to repeat to the audience. And I'm gonna give you a couple minutes because I know there's lag. Riveting podcasting is you guys will have to sit here due to the lag for 2 minutes watching me lean on my chin. Okay, now I finally got some comments in the chat I can respond to. First off, this is not actually a direct thing to respond to, but fun thing. Cody, who was on last year's end of year episode, funny you should say Somali money glitch. You remember when you were talking about the Kalishi money glitch? I received an email from them after the episode posted saying that it's not a glitch, it's fraud, and they would appreciate if we corrected our information. I wrote back to them telling them that we were not saying it was an actual money glitch. That's the way people refer to things due to the video game culture. And we were saying it was fraud and theft and criminal and not something we were encouraging. And they needed to stop reviewing shit with AI before they start sending out cease and desist letters. So, yeah, that was a fun little thing. Sam, yes, that is a potato. Potato. Squishy. It's a stressed potato. There's actually a whole fucking bit of lore behind the potato, which I suppose I could elaborate on if you guys would like me to. Again, I'll have to wait the minute and a half for the delay before I can address that. But so I will ask you guys, would you like me to elaborate on the point behind the potato? And no, Shauna, I did not make any comments about the PJs. Yes, the chat during my little tear about Maduro's PJs, Shauna mentioned that, oh, so I do need PJs. And then Cody was talking back and forth that I need silk PJs and I need black ones. So I'll tell you what, guys. It's a case of if you really think I need a new pair of pajamas, I will add some to the wish list. And you can go to ihadtosayitpodcast.com, click on Give Me Shit, and there's a thing about buying Aaron some fucking shit off of my Amazon wish list, which is an utterly stupid thing, and I don't think anyone should be doing it. And I will add PJs to it so you guys can see what I think is funny. All right, so the lore behind the potato is years ago I worked at a banquet facility, and at the time it was not really a normal thing for people to refer to somebody as a fucking potato. But I got fed up with some of the guests at the banquet facility one day, and I was kind of going off on a tear, and I just said, these bunch of fucking potatoes. And it became a whole kind of running gag amongst the staff there. And it started snowballing and developed a life of its own. And, it was kind of like the Church of Potato. We used potato the way fucking Hawaiians used aloha. We would use it as a place filler when we were trying to think of a word and we couldn't think of it. We would use it as a swear without actually swearing at people. So we could say it in front of the fucking guests and they wouldn't know what the fuck we were talking about. But when we were talking to each other, we completely understood what we fucking meant. The potato meant more than just your average stupid motherfucker, but in a lot of ways, potato became kind of slang for a fucking retard when we didn't want to say retard because of the, we couldn't say it because of whoever happened to be around or whatever, or just in general, even when it was just us, it was still, you fucking potato. And it was just a general explicitive that didn't actually mean anything. And it was just a thing. So a few years back, I got a buddy of mine was getting married. It was from the staff there, and I saw this potato online, and it got lost in the mail, so I didn't get a chance to get it to him for his wedding. And then it all of a sudden showed up like years later, and so yeah, it became my potato. And sometimes it lives on my shelf over there. Sometimes it has my little inspirational wristbands I have from Robert Frank that are. So, and when it has those on, I call it the swole potato because it better be fucking swole. So, yeah, that's the potato. That is my potato. I like my potato. And like I said, it's my little stress squeezy potato that I don't know where it showed up so fucking late that it missed my friend's wedding and I never got a chance to give it to him. And like I said, it just turned up in the mail like a year and a half later. So, and now it just lives here. And, so that's that. Yes, now in the chat, again, with the lag. Kate's telling me I shouldn't ask, I should just talk, which is probably fair. I'm still not super good at streaming yet. I'll get better, I promise. I'm going to keep working on it. In a side note, just because you guys are along with me on this journey through everything else, and, I do have a job thing coming up this week, and if it goes well, and if they make me an offer and the offer is reasonable and I take the offer, may not necessarily be able to be as well regulated on my schedule with the episodes because the job may actually entail some weird hours and I may have to stop live streaming or change how I'm live streaming. We'll deal with that bridge when we come to it. But just so you're aware, hopefully everything will go well with the exam that I have to do for this test tomorrow or Wednesday. It's tomorrow after the audio version posts. I got an email from the company today notifying me of what I need to know for the test, and it's nothing I can't handle. It's a practical test. I have to do a mystery box kind of thing, so that'll be lovely. So like I said, hopefully it goes well. Hopefully they make me a good offer and I decide to take it and it will be good. And then, like I said, it may not necessarily be great in terms of scheduling because it will be a little more random in terms of when I will have to be working and where I will be working because it's a traveling position. So, I may have to get one of those little dynamic boxes John was testing out a couple weeks ago for travel podcasting if I have to be on the road and shit. We'll see how that goes. But I digress. So if there's nothing else in the chat, I'm going to now talk about the recipe that I'm going to give you guys this week. It is going to be, and I'm still working on getting those cooking videos out. After this morning, I've kind of decided maybe I won't worry about the short form stuff so much right now, and I'll just start posting some long form. I'm going to put a cooking channel on the fucking YouTube channel, and I'll just start posting those there with voiceovers. That's the part I'm trying to figure out now is how to put a voiceover on it and just let it play at pace and maybe speed up the slow parts where you don't have to actually watch what it's doing. But I tried to cut those parts out when I was doing the recording too. So it's just, I'm working on it. I promise. I really am. It's just I got a lot of other shit going on too, where I've been trying to, get a job. So anyway, that being said, I might be getting another certification too. I just don't know when. I got that. It's a proctored test I have to go to Chicago for. So it's a matter of their schedule, not mine. Anyway, so all of that, I am now going to be doing something out of the small book, which that's actually, should have been a little more careful with that. It's got a logo on it. I don't want, to get sued. But it's I got this from a promotional thing. It's a tiny little notebook, and it's got This is my like working notebook that stays in my pocket, and the big notebook's what I write in after the recipe's been tested, and then I transfer to it. But there's recipes in the little notebook that haven't been put in the big notebook yet because I'm a lazy piece of shit, apparently. And I am going to give you guys one of my things that I was actually going to market, and then I had second thoughts about the matter and decided I'm just going to give you guys the recipe because it's a lovely thing, and I'm going to stick to the dry spices and the rubs for the time being because I can do distribution myself as opposed to bottled production sauces that have a whole other degree of shit to it. Plus, they're better fresh anyway. Okay, fine, Cody. I see it. I will tell the audience, guys, I like Cody. He's a good person. He's a decent kid, A kid. He's in his fucking 30s, but he's younger than me. He's still got more of his life ahead of him than I do. So I like Cody. He's good people. You guys should check him out. Go check out he's doing a podcast with my buddy Javier. They've now got 2 episodes. They're like kind of an annual thing, I guess, at this point. I don't know how to tell you. They did 1 episode. Now they do another one. I'll put a link for that and a link to Bruce's stuff. And it'll be on the website too. So go to IHadToSayItPodcast.com. Make it worth it that I pay for this fucking website. Go get some traffic over there. Go to IHadToSayItPodcast.com. Go on the links to friends of the show, and there'll be a link there to Cody's new venture. And yes, I like Cody. He's a good dude. He's not a retard. So anyway, on to the fucking recipe. This is a caramelized Valdelia onion barbecue sauce. I really dig this sauce. The only downside to it is it takes a while. Because if you're going to do it right, it's a slow fucking process to caramelize the onions. And then you got to let it reduce till it gets to the thickness you want. That's the thing. There's some wiggle room in here for timeline because, like I said, to do it right, you got to do it low and slow. This is not a quick thing. You need to make this a fucking day before you want to use it, at least. And me, I like to make it a week ahead and let it meld in the fridge for a few days. So anyway, this is caramelized Valdelia onion. It makes about a quart at the end of the day, maybe a little under. But around a quart. You start out with 2 tablespoons of butter. You want to use unsalted butter. Then you're going to have 2 cups of diced Valdelia onions. You don't have to dice them. It just makes it easier. You want a nice uniform cut on them so they cook evenly. Because you're going to cook the ever-loving shit out of these things. You're going to cook them. You start out on a high heat to melt your butter and throw those onions in there for the initial little bit of cook. You want them to sweat just a little bit till they start to turn translucent. Then you're going to turn the heat down to like a medium low, and you're going to let them cook, and you're going to let them caramelize, and you're going to stir them regularly, but you don't want to stir them constantly or it'll take way fucking longer and you'll get bored and your arm will start to hurt and it'll suck. But you want to stir them every minute and a half or so because you don't want them to burn. You want to develop those sugars in the onions. You break down the onions and they get all dark brown and super mushy and dark and rich and really sweet. And Valdelia onions are sweet to begin with. That's why you have to use Valdelia onions for this, because it's Valdelia onion barbecue sauce. And when you caramelize Valdelia onions, you get a super depth of flavor to them. You get a nice umami flavor to them too, because all those sugars develop in the onions as they break down. You can use purple onions too. I would not recommend yellow onions because they have the least amount of sugar content in them, but it's a case of, so you use your diced onions, you're going to saute them until they get like deep brown. Like the floor color behind me, brown, is not dark enough. Okay. You want them a darker brown than that, a golden caramel shade, right? Once they get to that point, you're going to put in a half a cup of tomato paste, so about one of the small fucking cans. If you're going with approximates, so the nice thing about hot foods is you can have some wiggle room in there. You can tweak it to make it how you like it. This is how I like it. This is how all the people I fed it to like it. But again, you don't have to follow my fucking drum beat. You can do your own thing. That's the beautiful thing about cooking. You can do whatever you want with it and adjust it to your tastes. That's the wonderful thing about making your own shit. Anyway, so you're going to take that half a cup of tomato paste, you're going to put it in the fucking pan with your caramelized onions. You're going to stir that around for 8 to 10 minutes, and you want to caramelize the fucking tomato paste too. It will, Shauna, you don't have to take notes. It's written in front of me. It's already noted. Damn it. Anyway, It's so you take that caramel, that tomato paste, and you're going to throw it in the pan, and you're going to caramelize that. Now, here's the catch, though. To caramelize that, since you've already got the caramelized onions, you need to turn the heat up on the pan a little bit, because if you're doing it at a low temperature, you're going to be doing this shit all fucking day. And realistically, tomato needs a little more heat than onion does to caramelize. So you're going to huck it in there, you're going to stir it around, you're going to keep it moving, and you'll start to smell it starting to cook. And it's a very distinct, it's kind of nutty, it's a good smell, it's a good flavor. You'll get a little, if you get a little char in there, it's okay, because at the end of the day it'll dilute when you add the rest of the ingredients. But you don't want to let it burn, you don't want to let it stick, because burnt tomato tastes like shit. But a little bit of char is okay. Again, it's a balance. You'll get it to where you like it. Or, but you want to definitely cook the fucking tomato paste, because unless you're using the really good expensive Italian stuff, canned tomato paste has a bit of a metallic, basic flavor to it. It's not acidic. I mean, there's an acid obviously from the tomatoes, but there's a basic flavor to it and I don't mean basic like simple or whatever. I mean basic as in acids and bases. And you want to cook that out of there. So you're going to have to cook it at least like 5-10 minutes to get that out of there. Then once it's caramelized a little bit and it's kind of incorporated all the onions, and it'll start to break up as it's cooking, it'll start to loosen up, and the onions will incorporate into it, and you'll start to get this paste as you're spreading it around. Then you hit it with a 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar, and you stir it in real thoroughly. It'll make it into a nice smooth consistent. Well, it's not going to be smooth. There's going to be lumps in it from the onions, but we'll address that later. But it'll make it a nice like liquid consistency where it's going to be a little bit better. It's still going to be pasty, but it's not going to be like out of the can paste. It's going to be easier to move around. So once you get it to that stage, you add in 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, 1 tablespoon of Spanish paprika, 1 teaspoon of chipotle powder, 1/4 cup of Worcestershire sauce, 2 tablespoons of chili powder. Now I use dark chili powder. You can use light chili powder if you like. I prefer the flavor profile of dark. 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 cups of cold water. You're going to use cold water because you want to retard the fucking process. I know this is going to sound counterintuitive, but it's just, you have to kind of shock everything, and it kind of locks in that flavor. And then you're going to bring it back up to a simmer. This is important. This is a step. If you don't do it right, it's not going to fucking work. If you pour hot fucking water into it, you skip that step, but you don't have that fucking reaction where everything kind of clinches. But you're going to bring it back up to a simmer, and then you're going to incorporate, which means stir in so it evenly distributes, 1/4 cup of honey. That's a lot of fucking honey. It's a sweet barbecue sauce. I really like this barbecue sauce. It's not my favorite one that I have, and somewhere down the lines when we get closer to summer, I'll give that to you guys. And it will be a case of, like I said, that when we get to that one, it'll be good and you guys will like it. But for this one, that's it, right? So then you got your sauce. You're going to let it simmer for 10 to 15 minutes, right? You don't want it boiling. You don't want it even really bubbling. You just want it warm to render a little of that liquid out. So until you get it to about the consistency of a barbecue sauce where it's pourable, but it's still going to leave a nice coat on whatever you pour it on. Now, after that, you have the option. You can put it in a blender. You can hit it with an immersion blender, or you can leave it chunky. That is totally up to you. Me, I purify it. I puree it. I make it smooth. I hit it with a immersion blender because I have one. But like I said, you can use a blender and put it in a cup. You can put it in a food processor and pulse the living fuck out of it. But if you did it right, it's not super necessary. It doesn't take a lot of blending. It doesn't take a lot of pureeing, because those onions should be damn near broken down by the time you add everything. And that's going to be literally the only chunks in the fucking mix. Now, like I said, if you want it smoother, all you got to do is throw it in or pulse it or whatever. It's not, strictly speaking, necessary. Like I said, if you did it right, the onions damn near dissolve when you do the mixing process. And then you take it off the stove. You can immediately use it if you want to. You can dip chicken in it. You can coat on barbecue ribs. It's good on all kinds of shit. It really is. I did beef ribs with it. They were fucking phenomenal. I've done it on chicken. I've done it just on the side to put on pulled pork or pulled chicken, I did it. I did it. I've done it for cookouts. It's a good recipe. It's a multi-purpose. It's not the sweetest thing in the world, but it's also not the tartest thing in the world. It's got a very good balance. It complements pretty much all meats pretty well, and I like it. I think you guys will like it. By all means, try it out. It's not going to happen tonight because I got to edit and post audio, but I will try and update the recipe page on the website, so it will be there if you want it. And yeah, that's pretty much the long and the short of it. Now I will do the last chance, last call. Anybody got anything to say? We're at an hour and 10 minutes, so if you take out the fucking 4 minutes of dead air, we're hour and 8 minutes, give or take, by the time this is done. I think that's a good length for an episode, and that's not even including the fucking first 10 minutes that I missed, which I will probably go back in and manually record something because I don't remember where I missed the cutoff, but we got to get that fixed. No, Cody, not Funyuns and ketchup. That's fucking gross. Yes, Frosties and fries are okay. It's actually kind of funny. I can hear the lag between what I'm saying and the text you guys are putting because Sean is listening to this in the other room and I can hear myself. Hopefully my mic's not picking it up. It would drive me nuts if there was that much of a delayed echo in the fucking recording. I guess I'll find out when I go to edit it. And hopefully this works out well because I did something slightly different today and recorded in OBS instead of using Zoom. I'm trying to simplify things, and so I took Zoom out of the equation for today because realistically I only need Zoom involved if I want to have people involved that are not here for remote purposes. And I'm on the advice of people that are better at this than me, I am trying to streamline my process and make things better. And low heat, constant stirring, strain. Yeah, more or less. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to put a pin in it then and say for now, that's what I had to say.